Hello, Oak Park parents and guardians. This is Dr. Molly Smith, proud principal of Oak Park High School. I would like to update you on our progress on standards-based learning. But first, we are going to hear a message from Deputy Superintendent Dr. Chad Sutton.
Hello, my name is Chad Sutton, and I'm the proud Deputy Superintendent of Academic Services and School Accountability here in North Kansas City Schools. Since the spring of 2022, which seems like such a long time ago, North Kansas City Schools has been on a very exciting journey towards a system-wide transition to standards-based learning and grading. As we have shared the why behind this transition, three words have been at the heart of our purpose since the very beginning: clarity, accuracy, and fairness. Our goal is to enhance these three elements in order to build confident learners throughout our entire school system. Providing clarity about learning expectations through the use of proficiency scales is the foundation of standards-based learning. For students to develop ownership of their learning, it is essential that they and their families understand what they must know and be able to do in order to demonstrate mastery of the standards that we teach. When students capitalize on the clarity provided through our proficiency scales to reflect on and self-assess their own learning, we empower them to become agents of their own learning, one of the most powerful tools in our educator toolbox. By leveraging the clarity provided by proficiency scales to communicate learning expectations, we also improve the accuracy of how we assess and report student learning, also of course known as grades. In North Kansas City Schools, we don't want grades to be merely symbols. We want them to be evidence-based tools to communicate a student's most recent progress towards proficiency on specific learning standards. All of this work, enhancing clarity and accurate measurement, supports our commitment to creating fair and consistent learning environment that prepares all of our students for success way beyond just high school. At the end of the day, this work is all about creating the right conditions in each one of our schools so students can experience winning streaks as learners. As students develop winning streaks as learners, they will also build a kind of confidence that empowers them to face and overcome any challenge, not just in their education, but throughout their lives. Thank you, and I look forward to a great 25-26 school year.
At North Kansas City Schools, being champions for all students is at the heart of our mission. One powerful way we live out this mission is by building confident learners, students who believe in their ability to grow, succeed, and take ownership of their learning journey. As part of this effort, we're introducing new language to use with students that empowers them to take an active role in their growth. With the ongoing support and encouragement of their teachers, students will begin to develop the mindset and habits that lead to lasting confidence and success. For students to thrive, they need more than academic support. They need to feel confident in their ability to learn, know they are valued and cared for, believe they belong, and believe success is within their control. When these conditions are met, success becomes possible. Standards-based learning brings clarity and transparency to what students are expected to learn. It helps families understand progress, and it empowers students to take ownership of their learning by clearly showing where they are, where they need to be, and how to close the gap. This year, you and your student will continue to see teachers using proficiency scales as tools in the classroom. Proficiency scales are an important part of how we plan instruction, assess learning, and give feedback. Proficiency is when your student can show evidence that they know and understand to the level the state of Missouri requires. These scales are built around the Missouri Learning Standards and show what students need to know and be able to do at each level. Think of them as a learning roadmap. They show the starting point, the destination, and the steps along the way. Teachers will use them to guide their instruction and assessments, and students can use them to track their own progress. You, as a parent, will also gain a clearer picture of where your child is in their learning journey and what comes next. You'll begin to see evidence of learning. That's the heart of SBL: clarity, progress, and partnership between student, teacher, and parent. As we continue implementing standards-based learning, our next step is transitioning to standards-based grading, beginning in the 2026-2027 school year. This means moving away from traditional grading systems that focus on points, percentages, and averages, and moving toward a system where grades represent evidence of learning. Instead of accumulating points for completed tasks, students will be assessed on what they know and can do in relation to clearly defined standards and expectations displayed in the proficiency scales. Standards-based grading will help us better communicate each student's progress and areas for growth. It brings alignment between the standards students are learning and the grades that are reported, making those grades more meaningful, accurate, and fair. This shift will take time and thoughtful implementation. We'll keep communicating with you along the way and support our students through the transition so they understand how their learning is being measured and how they can grow. As we move forward, it is important to pause and ask, what is the purpose of a grade? In North Kansas City Schools, we've defined it clearly. Grades are meant to use evidence to communicate the most recent progress toward proficiency of specific learning standards. This means a student's grade should reflect where they are now in their learning, not where they started or how many points they accumulated. In traditional grading systems, especially on a 100-point scale, early learning struggles, like low quiz scores or missing work, can weigh down a final grade even after the student has improved and mastered the content. That can give a misleading picture of what the student actually knows and is able to do. Standards-based grading shifts the focus to learning and growth. It helps ensure grades reflect a student's most recent and most accurate level of understanding. And while this approach changes how we determine grades, you'll see a familiar format when communicating grades. As we continue preparing for full implementation of standards-based grading in the fall of 2026, the principles outlined on this slide are guiding our system-wide shift and reflect our collective work toward a more accurate, equitable approach to grading. During first semester, teachers should ensure that grades are aligned to Principles 1 and 2, that is, grades should be based on clearly specified standards, and the evidence used must be directly aligned to those standards. In second semester, the focus expands to include Principles 3 and 5. Not everything should be included in grades like practice, and students should have multiple opportunities to demonstrate proficiency. In addition, academic grades should be kept separate from behavioral and citizenship expectations. Principle 4, which emphasizes a body of evidence rather than a traditional average, will be implemented starting in the fall of 2026. This staged approach gives us time to build consistency and clarity across all classrooms as we make this important shift. While we are shifting how grades are determined, many things will stay the same, so you'll still see a familiar format. Students will continue to be assessed on the Missouri Learning Standards just as they are now. Final letter grades, A through F, will still appear on grade cards, and each class will still report one overall grade per term. You'll continue to access your students' progress and grades through PowerSchool, and GPA calculations and honors distinctions will still follow the same process used today. What's changing is how we arrive at those letter grades, using clear evidence of student learning tied to the standards rather than points and percentages. This helps ensure that grades reflect what students truly know and can do. Thank you for taking time to learn with us. We know this change may feel different, even uncertain, but we believe it will lead to more accurate, fair, and empowering experiences for students. As your child begins using proficiency scales next year, we're committed to providing the support and communication you need. Together, we're working to build a better system for every learner. Thank you.